Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. My guest today is Michelle Williams, and she is going to be making some delicious recipes without any refined sugar. And she's going to be making a summer peach pudding and another type of peach pudding. Let's welcome her to the show. It's nice to meet you.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
It's my pleasure. You were referred by Chef Christina Martin, who's been on the show before. Did you guys meet on the cruise by any chance?
No, we actually met on Facebook through a different chef that you actually had on your show, Chef Val, Macro Val, she's known as.
Nice. Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, we connected.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I know that you practice macrobiotics. That's why I thought maybe the cruise, because there is a macrobiotic cruise, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. When did you first learn about macrobiotics and decide to adopt that type of diet?
I first learned about macrobiotics in 2016. I had already been through some trouble with my eating, disordered eating for many years, and I had recovered to the point where I was intuitively eating, but it still wasn't, I would say, healthy or balanced. And at the time, I was a ballet teacher, ballet dancer, getting back into it after a long break. And my ballet teacher, she was and my boss, she was very, trying to be gentle about it, but basically she said I needed to lose weight to be the best dancer that I could be. So I was kind of in a tough spot because it was like I just came from a pretty much lifetime of struggle with food, and then now I have to kind of change my eating again. So I was just a little bit afraid of how is I going to manage that in a healthy way. And it just happened, the universe, I guess, sent me someone that would help me, and that was my boyfriend, and he has been practicing macrobiotics for a very long time, and so he kind of gently introduced me, and I read a lot of books, and I just felt the effects mostly on my mental health, and then it just all lined up. Of course, when you're eating healthier, your body's naturally gonna balance itself out. So I did lose weight, and my dancing got a lot better because I was able to build muscle faster, and it was just in my center of balance, which that's a big thing in macrobiotics, vibration and balance. My center of balance was a lot better, so of course that helps when you're a ballet dancer. So ever since then I've been practicing for myself. In the past few years I've been doing personal chef work and cooking classes, counseling, meal planning with macrobiotics too.
Very cool. Like if somebody is unfamiliar with macrobiotics, how would you describe it? What's a quick and dirty definition of macrobiotics?
I would say it's a lifestyle based on ancient philosophy of yin and yang, two opposing but complementary forces, and it manifests in everything, every part of our life. But when it comes to food, you can create your own personal balance spiritually, mentally, physically, and it's really great.
Well, you seem to be really passionate about it. You mentioned as a ballet dancer, I wonder how many people struggle with disordered eating in that profession.
Yeah, I would say pretty much everyone, unfortunately. Yeah.
That's too bad, because especially when they're little girls, they want to do it just because of the love of it. And then that could be really devastating when they're told that when they're young.
Yes. And I've witnessed that, and it's really sad because it's also in that place, it's also hard to talk about, what to eat and advice about that, because then people might take it the wrong way, so it's a hard thing, but that's why I feel like I have a good background, and I have some good information, and there's people out there need what I have to offer. So I'm happy to share it.
Right. I know you live somewhere in Southern California. I haven't lived there for many years, but when I did live there, there were several macrobiotic restaurants.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are. And even if they're not technically macrobiotic, they have the macrobiotic influence. Like I know a couple restaurants, their menus have been updated by, macrobiotic chefs and, just to, make it a little bit more balanced and also yummy.
That's great. That's great. One of the things I've always enjoyed about macrobiotic food, because I was very good friends in LA with a wonderful macrobiotic chef. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Chef Eric Lechasseur and his wife, Sanai Suzuki.
Yes.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah, they're wonderful. And they've written several cookbooks and because like me, they don't include sugar at all in their food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's, I'm showing you 2 recipes today that don't have any sugar.
Well, that's fantastic. What are you going to be using as sweetener?
Actually, the main thing is going to be fruit juice. This is a peach juice. It's actually a little bit of a blend, but just natural fruit juice, also some peaches. So just the natural sweetness from the fruit.
Well, this is good because the peaches are perfect right now.
Yes.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to see how to make it. I know that you're using, is it kuzu? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, sometimes it's spelled kuzu, like with a D. Sometimes it's just pronounced kuzu. I mean, there's some people spell it differently. And some people, I think I've even read that there might be it's actually a different plant, but it's pretty similar.
Yep. I've seen that in Whole Foods mostly, but I have definitely seen it. It's like a natural thickener, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice.
And it's actually, and it actually has some really good properties for your intestine and just your digestion as a whole. It really also helps with your mental health. I feel when I have something with kuzu, I feel very calm. And it makes sense. Our brain is reflected in our gut health. It just makes sense. If your intestines are more firm and working properly, also it's going to be mirrored in your mind.
Great. All right. Well, let's see what you're gonna do.
Awesome. Great. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to have 2 recipes here. Should I do them both at the same time or should I just...
Whatever you prefer.
Okay, I think I'll do both at the same time because it'll be easier.
Sure.
So they're both going to use some of this country peach juice. I got this from Trader Joe's, but they also have like peach juice I've seen at Whole Foods, different places. As long as it doesn't have any extra added sugar, you can look at the ingredients. And this one has, like I said, a blend. It has apple juice, peach puree, white grape juice, as long as it just doesn't say, sugar on the ingredients. So we're going to add 3 cups of this for the first recipe, which is just peach pudding. So I'm actually going to pour in 2 cups into my pot. And peaches, like Chef AJ you mentioned, they're in season right now in summertime. So that's another thing in macrobiotic cooking and eating. You want to eat with the seasons. I mean, it just makes the most sense, if it's available during a certain time, that would be the best time to eat it. And then I'm also going to put 1 cup of this peach juice into a separate bowl because we're going to dissolve our kuzu that we talked about. So 1 cup of the peach juice goes into this bowl. And then we're going to add into our second pot for our second recipe over here. Actually, I'm going to move my pot right here so it's easier. The second recipe is also going to be a variation of a peach pudding, but this one is going to be more creamy. So I call it a peaches and cream kind of pudding. So for this one, we're going to use half the amount of peach juice. So 1 cup, and I'm going to do half a cup. So 1.5 cups of this peach juice goes in there. And then for that peaches and cream recipe, we're also going to add some plant milk. You can use whatever plant milk you want. I'm just going to use right now this oat milk, oat silk, and original. And what's great about plant milks that come from grains like rice milk, oat milk, is that they're naturally sweet. Even if you get the unsweetened, you'll taste it still tastes sweet because the whole grain has, you know, carbohydrates, breaks down into sugar or glucose. So it's naturally sweet. So it's kind of nice if you wanted it to be more sweet. If you wanted it to be less sweet, you could do like almond milk or soy milk. But so you're gonna put actually half a cup of this plant milk in here. And then we're also gonna dilute some kuzu. So we're gonna put 1 cup of the plant milk in a separate bowl. And then we're going to add our kuzu into those bowls. And so like we mentioned a little bit earlier, this is a kuzu starch. And it comes from a root. So once again, like in macrobiotics, it's almost common sense a lot of the times. You know, if you think about a root, you know, the way that it's shaped, that's pretty similar to the way our large intestine is shaped. So oftentimes what the plant food looks like is in our organs, in our bodies, that's what it helps with. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, we're going to use half a cup of kuzu in each one of these bowls. Right? And it looks like little rocks. And it's important that you do this step, you dissolve the kuzu, because if you try to pour the kuzu in your mixture when it's on the stove and hot, it's not going to dissolve. It actually dissolves in cold or room temperature liquid. So that's why I kind of get a jump start on dissolving this kuzu because it is kind of rocky. It looks kind of funny. And we pour that into our bowls to dissolve. And then on the stove, I'm just going to move these to the side. We're going to also add a pinch of sea salt to both of these pots. And the sea salt just helps to balance the sweetness because salt and sweet, they're, you know, two different flavors. And in macrobiotics, you know, we balance, a helpful tool to balance the food, balance the energy is by looking at the different flavors. So we often combine different flavors to create balance. So here we go, sweet, a little bit of salty with the sweet. And then the last ingredient we're going to add right now is called agar, which some friends might already know of because it's a popular replacement for gelatin. And it's actually a seaweed. So I have two different kinds here. This one I found at the Japanese market. And it comes like in these kind of square tubes. And then you can also find this one I found at Whole Foods. Actually, no, they have it at Whole Foods, but I actually found it at my local health food store called Grassroots. So we're going to use a third a cup of the agar. And this one does dissolve in heat or warm liquid. So we're going to let this cook for a while.
So that's so funny that you mentioned grassroots, because I used to work in South Pasadena and I used to love that restaurant. It's still there, same owners.
I think so. It's like a couple, right?
Yeah, they used to actually sell one of my recipes or sell a salad based on my recipe, hail to the, bringing back home. Hey, I have a question, Michelle, because not everybody lives in the United States, for one, or even a big city, number two. So if they can't find some of these ingredients, I did check, like you could get the kuzu and peach juice on Amazon, but what if they can't find the last ingredient you just used, which is not quite as familiar?
Yeah. So like I said, if you have a Japanese market near you, or even sometimes just Asian markets might have, a combination of different foods. But I like this website called Eden. I don't know if they ship worldwide, but there's also a website called Goldmine Natural Foods. That one, it looks like it's out of date, but it's not. But I'm pretty sure if you just search wherever you are, agar or kuzu, something is going to show up, Yeah, I wish that I could just say, go here and they're for sure going to ship to you, because, different places in the world, for some reason, companies just don't ship there. So it might be just helpful to look to search Google what's near you. But yeah, we're gonna let these two pots boil for 15 minutes. So I'm actually gonna set my timer right now. And see.
In macrobiotics, I know, at least the people I know, they often eat a savory breakfast, like a miso soup with vegetables. Is that something that you do as well?
Yes, that's actually one of my go-to breakfasts. I actually, yeah, a savory soup with vegetables. I also like to put beans. I really like a bean soup in the morning. And oftentimes, we make a batch of beans, so we have them for a while, so they're already there, ready to go. And that's really easy if you just mix, some beans with a little bit of new water or new broth, and you add some tamari or a little bit of miso paste, and you could also throw in some fresh vegetables. I think like greens in the morning is really good, like kale, even like baby kale, cabbage, because that green energy is really light and uplifting, and it really matches the energy of morning, getting your day started. It's a new day, a new start. And of course, the extra vitamins and minerals that vegetables always give us.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, peaches, they're naturally sweet. They're the color of them, they're orange. And I think a lot of friends might have heard of this already, but you could tell a lot from a food based on its color, like what is it good for? So the orange color, orange colored foods like peaches, also different kinds of squash like butternut squash, kabocha squash, also even carrots, other fruits like nectarines and apricots. They're really balancing, and they really specifically help our balancing organs, which are our stomach, spleen, and pancreas, located in the midsection. So that's another cool thing about peaches. And this summertime, you want that sweetness, that light, refreshing taste, but it also is going to help you balance your mood, balance your blood sugar, and just really good for those organs.
Nice. There's different kinds of peaches. I love white peaches. That's my favorite.
Yes, I love white peaches too. I really like at Trader Joe's, they have these dried white peaches that I've been loving for a snack ever since I was in high school. But yeah, I love white nectarines too. Those are really good.
Nice. So that it sounds like the longest part of the recipe is waiting for everything to boil.
Yeah, but you know what? Actually, we can go move on over here. We're going to chop up some peaches. Speaking of peaches, this whole recipe is basically peaches. But it smells really good, even though the pots are covered. I can still smell the peach scent. And oh, they were overflowing for a minute. All right, so we got these are some jarred peaches. You could also get a similar thing, canned peaches if you wanted to. Just make sure it's a natural juice. This one's in white grape juice, but you know, you might see it, you know, in its own juices, as long as it's just, once again, you look on the ingredients, it doesn't say sugar. But you could also use fresh peaches if you wanted that more firm texture, or you could also cook the fresh peaches with a pinch of sea salt until they get soft. And actually what's funny, when you cook fresh fruit, it actually gets sweeter. So it's just a little bit different options you can have. So we're going to cut up the equivalent of 2 peaches for both of these recipes. So I'm going to show you my cutting board. All right. So this is a half a peach. So we're going to put, oopsie, that fell down. Half a peach. And now we have 1 peach. And half. And another.
I love those jarred peaches, and they also have pears at Trader Joe's, because I reuse the glasses and I make salad dressings and I give it as gifts, and I use those jars all the time.
Yes. So I'm just gonna chop these up into smaller bite-sized chunks. Yeah, we like to have these very, very good dessert, you know. So we have these peaches ready. So we're going to use this amount for one recipe, and then we're going to use the same amount for the second recipe as well.
You have those containers. I forget what they're called. Those like the locking containers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're here. We're going to use them in a minute.
In case anybody sees your Zoom name, it's, you know, our Zoom names are always appearing small, but it's the Freedom Fairy. You want to tell people what that is?
Yeah. So that's my social media name, the Freedom Fairy. So why I chose that name, I've been on YouTube and doing social media stuff for a while, since I was in college. 2012 is when I started my YouTube channel. And it's kind of cool, if friends are curious, to see my transformation, because you can see back then I was really struggling with my eating. I didn't have an appetite, but I was on a lot of medication. I had gained a lot of weight, so much acne. And you could see in my behavior too, I was very chaotic. And throughout the years, you can see how I changed. And it's kind of cool to see the transformation. But anyway, my old name was the Beagle Queen, because I love dogs, especially beagles. But when I decided to switch careers from teaching ballet to helping people in their holistic health journey. You know, I've always connected with like fairy energy, you know, light and playful energy. But I also, the main thing I want to teach people is freedom, you know, how you can have freedom in your body, in your mind, in this life. You know, you have freedom all the time, but we forget that a lot of the time, you know, for many different reasons. So, you know, and teaching a way to control our state of mind and our physical health, you know, I feel like that's ultimate freedom. You know, you don't need to rely on someone else. You're very connected with what you need and how to create your own balance. So that's why I'm the freedom fairy, because I'm teaching you how to be free.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What blender are you going to be using? It looks like you're going to be blending something.
Yes, you know, this blender is actually pretty old. It's my boyfriend's blender from when he was a lot younger. It's a very, I guess, basic blender, but it's been holding up all these years. It's a austerizer. I don't know.
I've heard
But
that.
I would definitely love to get one of those, you know, more high tech, you know, kind of blenders at some point.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I know, it's kind of funny, you know, how things, you know, you don't expect some things to last a long time, but then they surprise you with how long they do last. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like my marriage, haha, but
Oh my gosh. I'm actually gonna grab some more peaches because we need a little bit more. And what's kind of cool is if you go to your farmer's market, you usually get probably the yummiest peaches. Of course, once again, local. That's another aspect of macrobiotic eating what's local. Once again, it just makes the most sense. And it's also about connecting with your environment. So, that's another part of creating balance is a lot of the times we feel we're out of balance. And part of it is, you know, we're not in balance with our environment, and that's what's making us feel, you know, out of place, which is very interesting. As someone who's felt like that a lot through life, in a big part probably because of my mental illness, but it's kind of cool to be able to think about that and help yourself just by what you eat, you know?
that's true. Not everything maybe can be cured or reversed, but I think just about everything can be helped.
Right, exactly. It was such a eye opener when I first felt those effects on my mood and my mental health. I was so surprised, and I was like, you know, because before I had been in therapy for so long, at least 10 years. I was on a lot of medication, like I said, for about 8 years. I went to a lot of treatment centers, and it was so crazy, you know, like, oh, I just changed my eating and it's made this big of a difference, you know, just the comparison. It was mind blowing. So that's really what got me interested in learning more. All right, and so now we're gonna actually mix up our kuzu because it's been sitting in the liquid, so it's gotten a lot softer and much easier to blend. So we have this mixture here for recipe number 1, the peach. peach pudding, and this is just kuzu with the peach juice. And you can mix it with a spoon or you can use a whisk. And you just want to check it. So see, there's a little bit of clumps left. So you still mix it around, and you can feel with your spoon, you can feel that the little rocks have become soft, and all you need to do is just, you know, gently stir it around, and your liquid will turn like this, you know, kind of milky color. And in a minute, we're going to add to the pot of boiling juice, and it's going to thicken it up. So the difference between the kuzu and the agar, some people use like only kuzu for a pudding recipe. Some people use only agar. So the difference of what it's going to do to your dessert is that the kuzu makes it thicker, but it doesn't, and a little bit firmer, but the agar is what makes it more firm. So like if you wanted to make more of a jello kind of, you would use more agar and less kuzu, or maybe not even any kuzu at all. And then also too, if friends have ever tried to make like gummy, any kind of vegan gummy dessert, you'll see that it uses agar. So it makes it real, it can become really firm depending on how much agar you use, the agar to liquid ratio. I've tried that before, it was kind of fun. Also too, you can see if you buy like this, you know, they sell like vegan gummies, if you see, you'll see in the ingredients, agar.
Yeah, because maybe not everyone realizes that traditional gelatin type dishes are made with animal products.
Yes, yes. And yeah, oh, is that your timer? Oh no, it's
No, I don't have a timer.
I was like, it sounded like it was coming from you for some reason. Oh, great. So our liquid is all ready. And so why we had to boil it for that long, or actually, you know, simmer it, is because the agar, like I said, dissolves in the heat, in the warm liquid. So we had to wait for the agar to dissolve. And by now, it should be good to go. And we're going to add our kuzu. So here we go, our first pot right here. The peach juice, peach pudding. So we grab this bowl with the kuzu that had peach juice in it, and we're going to add it here. And just be careful, you don't want this hot liquid to splash on you. And you can get the little stuff in there, the little remainder. And then from here, you're going to stir it around, and you can turn up the heat. Let's see, front. You can turn up the heat, and as you stir, you're going to notice that it gets thicker. The liquid gets thicker. And so you just want to keep stirring it around. And another thing in macrobiotics, I talked a little bit about energy. So, you know, it's helpful to be intentional when you're cooking, to think about what kind of energy do you want this food to give you. You can think of affirmations like, this pudding is going to help me feel balanced. My mood is going to be stable. Or, you know, I have a stable mood. I feel balanced. Everyone who eats this pudding is going to have an open heart and an open mind to treat others and themselves with love and respect. You know, and another thing too, I'm also an energy healer. I do crystal healing and I do palm healing. And how we are able to do that type of work is because of our energy centers and our energy pathways. you know, a lot is released through our hands, you know, as long as we have that loving intention. So you can see here, the pudding has gotten more clear. It used to be foggy at first. So, and you can see it's kind of bubbling. So we're done with this. This is done. And it smells so good. I'm gonna grab my oven mitt so I don't burn myself. But yeah, like I was saying, the energy is released through our hands. So that's when we're cooking, that's kind of a really cool thing because we cook with our hands. So everything we touch, you know, the food itself, the spoons and everything, you know, if we have that intention of love, it's gonna be translated into the food that we make. So it's a really powerful, powerful step, very important in macrobiotics that I feel like a lot of other cooking styles don't talk about. But anyway, so here we go. The second pot. This is the kuzu with the oat milk. And actually, let me see if I can bring this pot forward. I'll turn this off. I'm going to turn it up to high heat. I'm going to add this kuzu. And then once again, you stir it around. And just think about, you know, the positive intention of this food. And it's really awesome, you know? Because I'm sure all these friends watching, if they're vegan, in part, it's because they want to make the world a better place, you know, be kinder to animals, you know, help our planet survive for our future family and friends. So I feel like that'll be a good step for people who want to make the world a more peaceful place. And this is almost ready. It's kind of hard. Oh, I didn't lower the camera. So here we go. So it's kind of a little bit harder to tell when you have like a plant milk because it's already kind of cloudy. But you can tell if I would have lowered the camera sooner, you would be able to tell the difference when you first poured the kuzu in versus now it's the color is a little bit more, not as milky. And you could definitely tell it's thick. So it's done. And now we're gonna put these, we're actually gonna add some peaches to the peach mixture, peach pudding, recipe number 1. So I'm gonna go grab those peaches that we cut up earlier. All right, so I'm adding the peaches here into the peach mixture. And this one, we just gently stir them in. And honestly, if you wanted to, you could have this as a dessert right now. You could just put it in a little serving bowl, and it could be like a warm kind of pudding, which is really yummy. And it's actually better for your digestion when your food is warm. You know, it's just helps your organs be a little bit more relaxed. And of course, making your digestion easier. So you can have it like this. Friends might enjoy this maybe when they're feeling cold, you know. But it's okay to have it even in summertime if you want, because the sweetness is still pretty cooling. But what we're gonna do with the rest of it, we're gonna put it in one of those containers that we had over here. One of these glass containers. And And you're gonna let it firm up in the refrigerator. It usually takes maybe like at least 2 hours, but I've already prepared some, so I'll show you the next step, but I'm just showing you.
Have you ever heard of the banana ice cream people make in the vegan world quite a lot, or in the dairy-free world and in the sugar-free world as well, where you just freeze ripe bananas after you peel them and you run them through a machine?
Yes, I've made
that
it
would,
before. Yeah.
I bet that would be delicious on it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that would be so good. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like it's a topping for the banana ice cream.
Oh yeah, kind of like hot fudge, but hot peaches. Or even cold peaches.
Yeah, either hot or cold even.
Yeah. All right. And so this, I usually, anytime I make this, I kind of like to let it kind of cool off on its own before I put a lid. So I'm gonna just put this to the side. And then for the other recipe, the peaches and cream recipe, we're going to not add the peaches just yet. We're going, but once again, you could, let me just show you. You could add it, put some of this pudding here, and you can have it warm, of course. And just add a little bit of peaches in there. And you can just mix it up. So you can have it like that right now. But you would add this to one of those containers and let it cool off. But I actually have some of this prepared already. So we're gonna go back to the blender, but let me take my stuff with me. Right. So here we go with, this is our prepared, cooled off, jellified peach pudding. And once again, you could just scoop it into a bowl and just have it now. It's gonna be more like jello-ish, more firm, but I like to blend it, and then it's more like a pudding texture. So you see it's like, like a big piece, but it's soft. It's gonna blend up really easily. And you don't need to add any extra liquid. It's so soft, it'll blend on its own. So we put our peaches here, put our lid on, and just so with this older blender, we have to kind of open it and then move the ingredients a little bit, and especially because it's, pretty thick right here. Just be careful and make sure your blender is off when you do this. And blend it again. And the taste, the texture, and the taste kind of remind me of when I was younger. I really used to like peach, what was it? Peach yogurt. I ate that so much, especially when I was in my different diets that I was doing. I ate so much peach yogurt. But this kind of reminds me of it. But of course, it's a lot healthier for you. Awesome. Oh, almost there. It gets to the point when you're blending stuff. I'm sure friends that use a blender often. It gets to the point where it's like all the ingredients are moving around. You know, you could tell when it's pretty blended. Yeah, it's getting there. Great, awesome. So we can serve it up. And I'm actually just gonna pour it into. So yeah.
Very creamy. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
when I was little, and we're talking like 55 years ago, my mom used to send me to school with snack pack peaches in heavy syrup in a little can.
Yep. Yep. I had those too. Yeah, this would be great if for if there's any parents out there, you could get some little jars if you have like even baby food jars or just little jars, any little jars that your kids can take it for a snack at school. Hopefully they're into it. I think kids would like this. I would like it. I loved peaches when I was little. That was like one of my favorite foods. But the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna blend that the prepared creamy one, and I'm just gonna throw it in there. I usually would rinse out the blender, but since it's more of that peach pudding, I feel like it'll just add to that peachiness. So here in this container, I actually used barley milk, which was my first time using it, and you can see it's kind of like grainy. I don't know if that's the most visually appealing, but it's okay.
I've never heard of barley milk. Did you make it or buy it?
I bought it. I just saw it and I was like, I've never seen that before. So I just got it, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I'm glad I tried it. It's okay. I would rather eat barley. All right, and we just do the same thing with this version. Oh. And, yeah, and if any of the friends watching, they have any questions, they can comment on this video, right? EJ?
Absolutely. And we have all the links that you gave me to your Instagram and your website.
Yeah.
Have you ever made the pudding with any other fruit? Like, I don't know, maybe strawberries or?
Yeah, you can make this recipe. You could just replace it with whatever fruit you want, honestly. Yeah, I've made it with strawberries. I've made it with blueberries. I've made it with like apple juice instead of peach juice. I've made it like I've also made like a chocolate version, but of course the chocolate one you have to add some more sweetener like maple syrup or brown rice syrup. But I've also made, actually the other day I made like a coffee one, but except I didn't use coffee because I don't drink coffee. I used this coffee alternative. There's different ones now, which is great. But the one I used was made out of chicory root and I think barley actually. Awesome. Well, I think it's ready. I'm gonna rinse my hands quickly. Oh, I have a bowl right here. Okay. And here we go. Whoa.
So you eat these two things separately?
Yeah, they're just two different versions. I mean, unless you wanted to have a party and wanted to have two different puddings for your dessert.
I was thinking maybe a parfait, like a peach pudding parfait.
Oh, that would be great. And put some like granola or something in between.
I think so. Or even
Yeah,
fresh
that
fruit in
sounds
between.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you just put your peaches on top and eat it like that, or you can mix it around. So this one I feel like it's more creamy. The taste is more creamy, so it might taste to some people even more like peach yogurt. I personally like the recipe number one more. I could eat that, probably make myself sick eating that all day. But yeah, but for a dessert, for a snack, it's totally a very good alternative to, regular sugar sweetened desserts. All natural, of course, vegan, really light and refreshing for summertime. And of course, with that kuzu, it's so good for your digestion. So friends that might have a hard time digesting things, that might be a really good alternative.
I love that you don't have to turn your oven on, because have a dessert without an oven in summer is the best.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this was great. Thanks so much, Michelle. If people want to connect with you more, I see you're on all the different social medias. Are there one that you spend the most time at?
I probably spend more time on Instagram stories. That's where you're more likely to find me. But yeah, I do update my podcast pretty much weekly. YouTube channel, I go through phases. Sometimes I upload twice in one day. Sometimes it's like months, but yeah, Instagram, and also TikTok too, but TikTok I'm not as active, but mostly Instagram stories, you'll find me.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This looks like a delicious, refreshing summer peachy keen recipe.
Thank you, Chef AJ.
It's my pleasure. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow for another fabulous show.